Ran, or Ron, whichever one you prefer to say, is the 1985 Akira Kurosawa film, and it's probably my favorite. Either this or Seven Samurai, which I already reviewed. It is a King Lear. It's King Lear basically. It's a medieval Japanese King Lear. Is it the best Shakespearean film ever made? Arguably, yeah. Um, this is a really extraordinary piece of film. Like, you got one of Akira Kurosawa's stock actors playing the king, and he delivers maybe not so much of an Oscar-worthy performance, but it still is quite extraordinary. 1985 was a good year for film. There was things like Back to the Future and The Goonies and Commando and Lost in America, The Color Purple. And I would have to say that the best of the year would probably have to be Ran. Or maybe Back to the Future. I've seen Back to the Future more times, but yeah, Ran, great film. This is one of the best looking films I've ever seen also. Akira Kurosawa, when he did Kagemusha back in 1980, that was like his comeback film. That was a 3-hour epic in color, and when he's best known for doing black and white films from the 1950s and 60s, and with Kagemusha, it was his chance to really dabble in, well, maybe not so much dabble because he's one of the best directors ever, but yeah, him trying to do some color in his films, that was quite a sight to behold when he did Kagemusha, and it was perfected in Ran 5 years later. Yeah, his color palette in this is quite something to behold. So, anyone not familiar with King Lear, I won't say what King Lear is about because this movie is different enough. Ran deals with this king who is he's kind of a hothead, he's pretty stubborn, and he's a little bit corrupt. He's about to retire, and he relinquishes his powers to his two oldest sons, the majority of it being his oldest, and a little bit of it being his middle son. And the youngest son, who truly does love him, is the only one just trying to talk sense into him. But yeah, he ends up getting disowned, and he gets nothing he gets nothing. So yeah, after the king ends up giving power to his two sons, he realized just how much of a mistake that he's made. It turns out that both of his sons never cared for him at all, and because the middle son doesn't have as much power as his oldest son, there's this big war that happens between the two of them, and yeah, the king is he has some loyal followers that stay with him, but it's not a whole lot, and yeah, now he's powerless, and it's pretty sad how he his fall from grace, and he feels just tremendous guilt about and a tremendous regret. So yeah, it's pretty sad. It's one of Shakespeare's greatest epics, King Lear, and Meanwhile, there's this subplot with this girl, and she was a victim well, not so much of a victim, but the king murdered her parents and seized the kingdom for himself. And we get to learn about her and her family, and that's also quite fascinating. Yeah, the movie deals with so many, like, the two things that I thought separated this one from Kagemusha, well, aside from its general look, was it's also, I thought this one was also a little bit better paced, but also it deals with more universal themes, like family and guilt and betrayal and loyalty and life being too short. And yeah, this movie, it's tremendously sad, but Akira Kurosawa is a master. This is one of the, it's my favorite film of 1985, and I do think it is the best of the year. It's also one of my top 10 favorite films of the 80s, the entire decade. So yeah, brilliant film. I gotta give Ran from 1985 my highest score of 4 stars.